The team, we've had a couple of players coming in and out. So far, we have about 30 players in training, and we hope to make the final 25. We'll play on Saturday, today, after our meeting with the two captains. Most of the players, they've taken a long time off the game. The fitness levels vary. There are those who keep fit on their own, and the others who have taken a longer time. So it's a mixed bag.
Mentally, I'll say I'm very ready. And then now physically is something that we're trying to work on, which is not going to be so easy, but it's basically how to manage your body with a long time since, for example, I played 2013 for the national team. So now, since then, I've not been actively playing. So now it's a contact sport, and I've not been physically working out. So it's basically working out to see how best can I play and manage the game in terms of my fitness levels. But mentally, I'm okay, and I can work it out.
The mind is ready. The body is getting fit, and we've done our drills. We should be good to go when the day comes. It's adrenaline driven. Rugby is a game of attrition, and we hope we shall show up with our old bodies and some oil in the joints, and we shall be able to play.
The rivalry between Uganda and Kenya comes way back, and I think it will be shown clearly also over the weekend. We like playing our neighbors, and we like beating them.
So the essence is that the Kenyans are not going to come joking. It's going to be a tough game for the 80 minutes, and every quarter will be difficult. But the spirit is camaraderie on our side, but also like all rivalry is renewed. The players we've not seen since Alan and Sudi had rivalries talk about those days. And now it's going to be the same thing in the park. We have the big boys coming back, and also ours, Roger Rukundo, Matthias, with all the big guys in the park. So it's going to be tough, but at the end of the day, it's to make rugby bigger and better, and so that people enjoy themselves on the day.
First of all, we play rugby for fun. We're going to make it fun. And besides the fun, it's going to be tough because fitness levels with kicking and things like that, but it's going to be tough as well, fitness-wise. But at the end of the day, when we make it fun and we put in the hard shift, we shall get the win out of it.
I played for a club called Impala, and interestingly, the coach of the Kenya veterans is also a former Impala, who were teammates. The most fondest memory was us winning the Rikshali and getting promoted to the Kenya Cup.
I'm basically ready to play anybody that's not putting on the Legends jersey. So it's basically the whole team. And as a playmaker, I'm ready to stand ahead of anybody.
Who am I looking forward? Now I need to correct, I'm a back player in a forward's body, but now I'm in the park. I would say Andrew Monde is my good friend and teammate. Last time I met him, he was starting his career in 2007. And I was winning the African Cup with him at 7, and I was at 12, where it wasn't a good riding for him. But now I can't say the same, but it will be Andrew Monde and all the park guys that will be coming.
3, 2, 1,
My name is George Asin. I'm currently in Uganda to play the Kenya Legends versus Uganda Legends rugby game. I've played rugby for both Kenya and Uganda. In Uganda, I've played for Makerere Impis before moving on to Pirates. After graduating, I went back to Kenya and played for KCB Lions, and we won the Kenya Cup 4 times. I had to mention that. Yeah. First thing I think I did after reaching the hotel is to go look for matoke, ginat sauce, and some good meat. Yeah. Most of my early best memories in my rugby career I achieved them while playing in Uganda. I think the one that tops it the most is I was actually selected in 2007 to play for the Uganda under-19. That was the height of my career then, before moving on to play for Kenya back at home. I think I have a lot of unfinished business. One, to gauge myself with the people who mentored my rugby career, and also it's like a farewell game because I've recently retired from active rugby. So maybe just to prove myself and also to give thanks to the people who laid the foundation for my rugby career. There are a lot of people playing tomorrow and some that are not playing, but I'd love to mention people like Solomon Mawanda, Timothy Dumba, Mubiru, the late Seguya, and everybody at Pirates when I was playing back here. So I'm looking forward to the game tomorrow. It's both emotional and it's emotional and still very sentimental. I mean, it's just words can't express what I'm feeling. The game between the Kenyan legends and Ugandan legends, I don't think it's something very competitive. As much as whenever Kenya plays Uganda, I don't think there's anything friendly about that. It's a bunch of brothers, because most of the people have played together in maybe East African combined tournaments and everything. But as much as it's supposed to be a vets game and it's supposed to be fun, I think it's going to be very competitive because, we always want to know who is superior between Uganda and Kenya. So the game is going to be tough, though, slow paced as compared to rugby nowadays, but it will be packed with a lot of experience and the don't blink, you'll miss moments. Thank you.
We have Alex Kawowo, who is also the captain of this team, former member of this club.
What's the favorite place of memory?
2005 until his retirement.
Rugby playing nations.
Winning 20.
It is the Uganda touring party here, and we shall be having some entertaining rugby. We shall be having some reminiscing moments and also some exciting clashes between these men who have been said to have unfinished business. Welcome to Kawowo Sports. We shall be on broadcast. My name is Ernest Akorebi Runji, and I'm Isire, a man who has seen these gentlemen play rugby on both teams for all these years. The sun is out, clear skies. We'll be having the lineups in a few as the teams make their way in the tunnel and the changing room. Robert, I would like to ask, for a young man like me who has only watched rugby a couple of years, this is as exciting as can get when Uganda is playing against Kenya, despite the fact that these are the veterans. The lineups we have. That's for the visiting squad, the Kenya veterans, in a very exciting lineup. There were a couple of late changes today. So at number 1 is the youngest man on the team, George Asin. Then Francis Motoko and Derek Omalwa at the front row. Oliver Mangeni Olishe, a Ugandan-born, playing in lock with Wilson Kopondo. And then the loose forwards, Lewi Maina, Andrew Amonde, former Kenya Sevens captain, and Eddie Omondi, the captain. Number 9 and 10 is Michael Motoko and the man with love on the fairway, Lavin Asego. At number 10, the midfield partnership, Tito Oduk and Kevin Gashoka, with the back 3 having Solomon Munywa, Felix Osiemo and Jay William. And now for Uganda.
To bring you the Ugandan Bangam Alex Mubiru, who is common on this turf and has literally lived his rugby life around Kyadondo. Ronald Adigas, very ferocious on the pitch, but a gentleman off the pitch. Romano Ogwal, Victor Wadia, an African champion. Ibrahim Nyago, Muhammad Athio, those are brothers. Roger Rukundo, Gama Faizo, Charles Onen at 10. Dennis Etuket on one wing, Alan Otim on the other wing. Michael Wokorach, Alan Musoke, an African champion as well. And Brian Tabaduka. These are the gentlemen that are going to be stepping out first. They're the first 15 players that you'll be seeing on the pitch. And believe me, it is going to be an exciting one.
Robert, as a fan, what are some of your fondest memories watching these two countries playing rugby?
I can tell you that the biggest memories that we can have as rugby fans and players and anything that any rugby lover will tell you that the moments that you've played and you see your team winning has been priceless. I can remember 2006 when Uganda first won in Kenya. It was memorable, and I think this here today brings very fresh memories, and I believe that there's a big number of people here that have not watched the biggest chunk of these players play and will be very excited to watch them play today.
Yeah, without a doubt, we'll be very excited to watch them play. As the two teams make their way in the tunnel, Kenya will be wearing white. The Kenya veterans will be wearing white, inspired by the legends by Nondies, and you can see there's no love lost between the two. Not some hostilities yet, but certainly both teams will be enjoying themselves today. At the front there is Ibrahim Nyango, one of the 3 rugby playing brothers here. Very many families in this squad, and we'll be talking about some of them. They are Uganda in red and Kenya in white. A few minutes to kick off. About 5 minutes, the teams will be making their way to the playing field. We shall have the national anthems, and then after that, what we've all been waiting for.
It is interesting to watch the Nyago brothers all standing out for the Uganda team. They've all represented Uganda at different levels. They've been an exciting, I mean, it goes without saying that kudos to the family that they've given rugby what they've given to rugby. But to say the least, the Kenyan outfit really looks very exciting. I can tell you that the most of them are here to settle some scores that have never been settled. And this promises to be a sizzling encounter.
We've been told that the tagline for this match is going to be unfinished business, and I think there is some unfinished business between Uganda and Kenya, although Kenya have a huge upper hand, I should say, over Uganda as they make their way onto the playing field. There's Andrew Omonde, just retired. He's already a veteran for the Kenyans, but just retired from the Shujaa Kenya Sevens. And as well, you can see Tyrell there as well, making his way onto the playing field. And a host of other Kenyan veterans.
And when you see the players come on as slow as they come, I mean, when you cross a certain edge, it doesn't come easy. So they have to be very careful. Even just running onto the pitch could cause some harm to some of their very long-lived muscles.
Yep. To be a veteran, you need to have clocked 35 years of age. And certainly most of those men there, led by Alex Mubiru and Bobby Bibangamba and Adigas, have clocked that age. The spirit might still be willing. Today is going to be a test of whether the body can still achieve some of that which the mind wishes for.
It goes without saying that the biggest chunk of the Ugandan team, if I'm not mistaken, if anybody is under 40, they are literally a year or two shy of 40. But the most of them, a good chunk of them, I see my very good friend David Mutaka, who easily could be chasing 50. In my words, I don't know about that, but I easily could be chasing 50. Seeing a man like that step onto the pitch, I mean, after a very long while, is definitely going to be an exciting one.
Yeah, surely looking forward to this game. We shall have the pre-match ceremonies, and it's going to be with the national anthems of the two countries, beginning with the visitors, Kenya, and the hosts, Uganda. The two, I should say brothers, I should say friends, a big East African rivalry, and there is no better way. A big East African rivalry, and there is no better way.
This is this one.
What the fuck am I?
I want to be polite and say they have been given
Lots of familiar faces for those who have watched rugby for quite some time here in Uganda and in Kenya. The two East African countries enjoying a lot of game time between themselves. On the far right of your screen, you see Brian Tabaruka, who has been active for most of his senior age, showing us some of his fitness, like Aaron Ofoiro, the youngster.
I can tell you for a fact that Brian Tabaruka, they are standing there at fullback, could have played rugby longer than you've lived on this planet.
It's highly likely. It's highly likely that he has. And kicking off will be Kenya, waiting for the whistle of Mr. Charlie Mungoma, a rugby veteran himself, with the whistle. So we are surrounded by veterans, I should say, here today. And with ball in hand is Mr. 1000, the first man in Kenyan rugby history to score 1000 HSBC sevens points. Lavin Asego will get us underway from left to right on your screen, and the first possession will land in the hands of Bobby Bibangamba for the Uganda veterans, and right away it's been snatched by the vets, but possession stays in the hands of Uganda. Faizo Gama, still active with his Ends Rugby Club, is playing in that number 9 position. And there's Charles Onen putting it to both. Well fielded by Philip Tyrell. He speeds past Alan Otim. And Onen finding a support runner. Kenya are banking Uganda's 22 and they have the advantage. Slow ball. And a heavy hit onto Victor Wadia. Kenya spreading it out wide. Still outside the 22.
I'm sure Victor Wadia must feel a little bit uncomfortable from that hit, but this definitely is the kind of match that we anticipated for and is going to live up to its billing. And the Kenyans break the line, and that is the first blood drawn.
Kenya off to a flying start. It's Felix Osemo with the first points of the game. What a quick start from the visitors here. Many have said it was a trip, a tour for pleasure, but certainly Kenya are meaning business here today.
For anything on a rugby pitch, there's never a moment where you come and feel like you're going to get a good feel of the opponent. So you put your best foot forward, but the Kenyans come and draw the first blood, and Kenyans lead the score with 7. And the Ugandans shaking their heads in disbelief. But this here is exactly the kind of game that we expected to have here today.
How many games have you seen that have started like this, Roba, where Kenya come to Uganda and within 2 minutes there's almost, it looks like Kenya have come to mean business already?
It is always been the case that the Kenyans come with all their feet running, and it never comes easy. They definitely come to pound and make sure that they give the Ugandans a hard time. It's very evident that even in their old age, it's the same thing they intend to do. And we'll keep watching and see what happens, how this script unfolds.
There's former Sevens captain Amonde with a very strong carry. But Alan Otim has earned that turnover for Uganda, getting some cheers from the boys. Victor Wadia now to get a response after that heavy hit he received in the lead up to that try. Faizo Gama looking back at the blind side, finds Mohamed Athio, his brother, one of the 3 rugby playing brothers here on this team. Romano Ogwal. What a strong carry from Romano Ogwal, who last season played for the Toyota Buffaloes. Ibrahim Nyango, brought down by Asego. And then now the captain Alex Mubiru onto Olishe Oliver Mangeni, also known as Chizito. And now the backs, Tabaruka, Alan Musoke, for now former Uganda Sevens captain Michael Okorach. Still a young man, but the veterans appear to be having one on him.
It's never a walk in the park on the rugby pitch that at any one point you have that ball in your hands, there will be somebody asking questions. What do you think is going to stand out in this game, in your opinion?
I think for me, I'm just here to be entertained. Some of these men I've only known as coaches. I've only heard stories of their heydays, their best playing days. I've also had a couple of stories from across the border in Kenya, especially the veterans who came to Uganda and conquered and won games here. So for me, it's to see some of these men with my own eyes. I'm very privileged to be watching the likes of Lavin Asego, the likes of Osiemo playing rugby here. People that we've read about in newspapers and on seen on TV. So for me, regardless of the result, I'll be excited to see what these two men who used to play the best of rugby in their day will be able to do today. Ahmed Athio up in the air, the Heathens coach finds Adigas, and now Nyango in that pocket. Quick ball for Onen. Alan Musoke, backdoor, Tabaruka finds Dennis Etuket. Just won the National 15s championship with the Black Pirates. Alex Mubiru, the captain. Uganda are maintaining possession and carrying it strong, but Victor Wadia loses it in contact, and it will be a scrum feed. For Kenya, Charlie Mungoma appears to have lost his bearings a bit there, but he has got some assistance from his assistant referee Rosenberg Kanyonyuzi, and it's going to be ball in possession with the Kenya veterans.
This is going to be our first scrum down, and you see the bodies here are all heavy bodies, all the way from 1 to 8, and I think it's a very heavy pack for the both of the teams. So whoever it is that is going to be at the front there has quite a bit of weight to deal with.
There's much art and science to this set piece. The two veteran sides know as much as they can about this specific facet of the game. Forward pass has been called. They did well at the set piece, the Kenya Sevens, the Kenya Vets. Now Uganda can probably replicate the same with ball after that forward pass. This Faizo Gama. Faizo Gama is probably one of the most senior players in the Uganda Rugby Premier League, but he's one of the junior players on this pitch today.
He looks a teenager here, but to be utterly honest, don't be fooled. He's just taken care of himself. He's not a young man. But to mention here now, it's definitely going to be different by the end of this day. There will be very many sore bodies, and I'm sure painkillers are going to be at work.
It's a quick restart for Faizo Gama there, catching the Kenyan defense snapping, and Uganda have the advantage. And finally, the full penalty. Andrew Amonde caught offside. And there is some discontent from the visiting contingent. There's the captain, Eddie Omondi, trying to make his case to the coach, to the referee rather.
And good to see that he makes it with a big smile on his face. Always an impressive scene to see rugby being played and everybody remembering to keep their calm and know that it's a game played by gentlemen.
There's Charles Onen, a very good kicker in his head. Still got that firepower in his right foot to try and attempt to put Uganda's first points on the board from the left of the uprights. He curls it towards the uprights, but the wind forces it out. And Kenya will be playing on. Very good exit kick by Jay William. Finds Dennis Etuket. Etuket finds Tabaruka. Tabaruka isolated and brought down by Mike Mutuku. Uganda maintain possession just inside their own half. Onen playing halfback duties. Adigas and Wadia combining there. Romano Ogwal now. Uganda have the advantage. 4 offside and the full penalty. On the floor there is George Asin. You can see his frustration. He is the baby of the Kenya veterans. George Asin just retired 6 weeks ago. And his career also started here in Uganda, playing with the Makere Impis and the Black Pirates Rugby Club. There's a number of players on these two teams who have played in both countries, Uganda and Kenya.
Just to remind you, Georgie has always been a hothead from the days that he played at Impis and Pirates, and it's no surprise that it continues to be that way. I mean, once a player, you keep your habits, and that there shows from George. And Charles Onen with a good boot finds touch deep into the Kenyan half, and there the Ugandans will have an opportunity to launch an attack right in front of the Kenyan line.
First time we're seeing this line outfit on this end of the pitch. The first one went very well with Muhammad Athio in the air. Kenya have a very good arsenal in Olishe. Oliver Mangeni, born in Busia on the Ugandan side of the border, but life took him to the other side of the border and ended up being a very renowned Kenya veteran. A little bit of discussion at the front of that line out for Uganda. Let's see if Oliver Mangeni has found a solution to Mohamed Athio's quick fit at this line out. We're taking a break, I think, to allow the two teams, unlike the usual pace that we always watch with rugby, the two teams these veterans need to take as many breaks as they can take to allow themselves to get a breather.
For those that are watching this online, I can tell you that brace yourself for a little more breaks. These are not the ordinary bodies that you see playing rugby on a daily. These are people that have been out of the game for possibly a decade plus for the most of them.
Many, many years under their belts. That comes with lots of experience. As Victor Wadia in the air to maintain position for Uganda. A long pass out wide looking for Adigas. A very strong carry. Tries to be a bit smart, I should say, at the front row in front of Amonde. And possession has been turned over. Lavin Asego boots it straight into touch. It's going to be a Uganda line out. Still deep inside Kenya territory. Adigas is best in Entebbe with the Mongas. A Uganda veteran who I think one of his best days was in the colors of Uganda, I should say. Probably around the early 2010s, late 2000s, I should say.
Just to mention that Adigas is actually a Ugandan, an African champion with the Ugandans in 2007. He's literally put in a shift, and rugby in Uganda pretty much owes him much.
Suddenly put his body on the line for the country. And many of these men on this pitch Kenya with a very good scrum fit. Ball pops out on the right side. Faizo Gama doing some dark arts, tackling the man without the ball. And it is a penalty for Kenya. Player taken out without ball. Mike Mutuku will need some attending to. There's a Onen's kick that just went a bit wide. Earlier, as Uganda looked for their first points of the day, Mutuku, the player being attended to, is Kulabu, through and through, played for Mwamba and is their longest serving scrummer from 2002 to 2019. And in that period, won a number of competitions, the Enterprise Cup, the National Sevens, the Impala Floodlights in 2010. Mwamba, a club that has a lot of character, that has a lot of culture. I should say one of my closest friends, Eunice Olembo, is Mwamba through and through. She's tried her level best to convince me to support Mwamba, and I think I could be coming close to that, but I still remain a full KCB fan. There's a number of great clubs here in Uganda: Heathens, the Black Pirates, the Cobs. We should mention Entebbe Mongers. We can mention Makere Impis, a club for which 4 of these Kenya vets have played for. What do you think for you has been that club which has always stood out in its culture, in the way they've played, that the neighbors across the border have always known of?
I think it goes without mentioning that Cobs, for the longevity that it has lived across the years, I mean, over 50 years plus as a rugby team has been, and then they have a trade of rugby that they've played over the years. And it goes without mentioning that the biggest chunk of the players you see on the pitch today, from Ibrahim Nyango, Gama Faizo, Roger Rukundo, you look at the likes of Victor Wadia, and many more that are still on the bench, have all played for Cobs at some point. But yet, Alan Musoke, goes without mentioning, has played all his trade for the Cobs rugby. But Heathens as well has quite a bit that they've put across for the sport of rugby.
Lavin Asego has still got it. Hits the smaller balls for fun on the green. I've been watching some of his videos on the internet. He has a YouTube series, some videos that he posts of love on the fairway when he's playing golf. What he's able to do with the golf ball, he can still do with the rugby ball, as he did with that touch. And you could see that very good line out. I talked about Oliver Mangeni jumping very well in the line out. He did so well for Kenya, probably being the biggest force we have seen in that set piece over the years, haven't we?
He's always been very brilliant at the line. He could contest anything at any one point in his heydays.
One of the men that we've missed out on, whose career unfortunately was cut short, is Marvin Odonga. I should say is one of the players who could have competed up in the air against him. But today, Oliver Mangeni, while he could be alone, he has a force to reckon with in Mohamed Athio in that line-out. A bit of a commentator's curse, I must admit, that while we were speaking and waxing lyrical about his line-out prowess, he loses that ball in the air, and it's going to be a scrum fit for Uganda just because the referee touched the ball as they were playing.
And that there is a Uganda put in Gama Faizo there with the ball. And we'll see what the Ugandans have to offer. And the Kenyans run over the Ugandans. And the referee, remember, is the sole judge of fact and truth.
What a show of force from the Kenya veterans. One of the most hilarious things to say is that the more years you have played rugby, the slower you will take to get off the floor. We shall certainly get used to this. The more the scrummages that we shall have in this game, they have done this many times. But still, you can still see in this video, you can still see the force that is involved in getting this set piece underway. And Kenya have literally walked over the Ugandan scrummage again. It has popped up on the side of the Kenya vets. Ooh, what a very good dummy from Jay Williams. Tacklers slowly rolling away. Asego goes to Amonde. Amonde finds Oliver Mangeni. Mangeni just about breaks the line. Edwards throw on that front row, catching the entire Ugandan team offside, and Andrew Amonde on the quick restart, he does it off the mark, but the Ugandans had been adjudged for diving into the ruck, and Amonde needs to take that penalty from the technical bench that is just right below us. Kenya appear to not be pleased with the refereeing. They're saying that the players are playing faster rugby than the referees. It's a veterans game, and as much as the players are veterans, the referee is a veteran as well, I should say.
Just to remind them that the referee also could easily be chasing 60 years of age, so he could be a little of age as well, so he will be a little slower than the usual.
It's hilarious, I should say, the exchange on this technical bench between the referees, between the Kenya technical bench and the match officials. Kenya have bangled possession there into the hands of Uganda. It will be a scrum field for the team that is yet to score. Running time is 20 minutes on the clock.
It goes without saying that the Kenyan scrum has been dominant at every other scrummage. The Ugandans have struggled to get that oomph out of their bellies to try and resist the force that comes with the legendary Kenyans that have literally taken advantage of it.
Yeah, it's George Asin, Francis Motoko and Wamalo at that front row, then Mangeni and Kopondo in the tight five, bringing the force to the Ugandans. But this time Roger Rukundo is able to get it away quickly, and Alan Musoke tries to find an exit kick. Jay Williams hangs it in the air for Charles Onen, who skips past him and returns the ball with interest. Lavin Asego on the chest, but it bounces in the hands of Onen, who just loses it forward, and Michael Okorach on the chest loses it forward as well. And an attacking chance for Uganda goes begging. We shall have the first water break of the game. What a first 20 minutes. Let's take a look at that kick again. Kevin Gashoka not able to judge the bounce very well, and Onen, with literally all acres of space in front of him, is not able to gather that ball and perhaps put some points on the board for Uganda as the chase was on.
I think it is a lucky bounce, and Onen, if he had gotten that into his hands, there was everything for him to thank the rugby ball for. And I can tell you, that's what they always tell you, the cleverness of a rugby ball can always elude the best of them.
This Nondies team, Nondies, also known as the Nondescript Rugby Football Club, is one of the most historic rugby clubs in Kenya. This year they are celebrating their 100-year anniversary. And one of the things they have done in their celebrations, as we see Desire Yera, probably one of the future veterans of Uganda, in the stands, is that the Nondies have had a tour in Dubai last year, the Dubai Sevens, combined with some of these players of Uganda, including Victor Wadia, for example. They are now here in Uganda for a tour with some of their biggest rivals and opponents on the playing field. 100 years of rugby history for the Nondies. That is such prestige, I must mention.
I mean, their history is rich, and for anything, anybody would want to be part of such history. And to see gentlemen like those who have gone ahead to make big careers out of themselves is priceless.
Robert, I would like to ask, you have watched rugby, you have played rugby in Uganda, but you have watched rugby for a very long time, both here in Uganda and in Kenya. Let's talk about rugby across the border. What's the atmosphere like for a traveling fan who has left Uganda or anywhere across this world coming to watch rugby in Kenya?
I think the Kenyans are very, very passionate about the sport of rugby. It is always one of those places that you go to and will feel very uncomfortable to be on the other side of the team. And I think they've done everything they should do to get the sport loved by the Kenyans across the nation.
A number of changes have been made on the two teams. There's Desire Yera, Uganda Sevens international, also played for the Uganda Rugby Cranes, just won the premiership title with the Black Pirates, known as DJ Fufu. And if you find him in his best of modes, you'll find him dancing, certainly, the youngster Ayera. Today, however, is a day for the veterans. Uganda have been forced to make an early change at that front row. I can see Asman Mugera on for Bobby Bibangamba. And one of the most, I should say, one of the most interesting changes I've seen in a long time as well is a change in the center referee, Charlie Mungoma, making way for David Chirabira as well. And at that loose forward in the number 6 position is Humphrey Tol Kayangwe, as Amonde is stopped in his tracks by Dennis Etau. Dennis Etiquette, a tackle at the bootlaces. Etiquette doing so well to stop the former Sevens captain. And then now George Asin isolated in space, but a very good clearance at that ruck by his fellow front row forwards. Kenya maintaining possession. Humphrey Kayangwe running that dummy run. Double tackle for Uganda. Lava Sego now. Tito Oduk selling a dummy and then going himself. There's contest at that breakdown. Advantage goes the way of Kenya for holding on. Sego again. Play continuing to the open side as Pete Tyrell is forcing play and increasing the pace of this play. Humphrey Kayange, a World Rugby Hall of Famer. He's a director of rugby in the Kenya Rugby Union, in charge of the Sevens. Unfortunately, last week, very sad developments is that the Kenya Shujaa were relegated from the HSBC Sevens World Series. But Humphrey Kayange, one of the 3 brothers with Agevi and Injera to play for both Shujaa and the Simbas. Family has lots of rugby royalty, I should say.
I can tell you that they have served diligently for the sport of rugby in Kenya, and he's one of those players that across the globe anybody will meet and will want to have that moment, that Kodak moment with them for his legendary input in the sport of rugby.
Legendary status indeed Humphrey Kayangwe possesses. Kenya have a very interesting line out inside the Ugandan 22. The active players always go for line out and driving maul. Let's see what the veterans will go for. Kayange in the air gathers very well, and the script is the same, young or old. Kenya will always go for that rolling maul. They're pushing it forward slowly. It's at the back with Derek Wamalwa, and then breaking away. He is over for the second try of the game. A tactic that has always worked for Kenya against Uganda, and the vets have never forgotten to read from their books. Getting up slowly, a bit of an interesting way to celebrate that try, but 5 more points on the board for Kenya.
It definitely gets the Ugandan shoulders bogged, and it goes without saying that this is not exactly how they expected this to pan out. But yet again, we still have a big game of rugby and a big 60 minutes of rugby to play here.
Kenya mean business. Running in some changes already, bringing on fresh legs. Lavin Asego with the conversion. It sails just wide, and the score will remain at 12-0 in favor of the Kenya veterans. And more changes coming in for both teams. Charles Onen looking for some grass behind the Kenya Vets team. And play will resume with a line out inside Kenyan territory. Line out again for Kenya. Is Kayange going to be going in the air? No, he won't. It pops up on the side of Uganda as Kenya were trying a quick move. Uganda been caught offside. Amonde on the quick restart. Carrying it himself, combining with Kayange. And it has been judged to be a forward pass to Mr. Toll from Andrew Amonde. Scrum feed for Uganda, a set piece that hasn't gone well for them. But these veterans have still got it.
You know, it's the old brooms that sweep the room best. And I can tell you, they know the turf and each and every other blade of this pitch very well. The most of them have played here not once, not twice. And believe me, they know what it takes to get onto a rugby pitch and actually put in the shift. I mean, it's interesting to see. Then he said to get breaks and tries to shake around.
It's an interesting line play from the Ugandans. There's a hand on the floor there from Wamalwa. The Ugandan defense cannot believe it, and Roger Rukundo, rightfully so, feels that the halfback was impeded there in that play on the break. We'll take another look at it. But that's some dark arts from the Kenyan defense there to stop an impeding Ugandan attack. Ball is out. Tito Odok brought down by Charles Onen. Tarell loses that ball forward. And Faisal Gama has been caught offside again. Alan Otim, one of the fittest men on the Ugandan team, is on the floor. He just came from the Hong Kong Tens with the East African Rugby Football Club. And is now serving as the Uganda Sevens S&C coach.
You would expect that, but the rugby pitch and playing rugby knows no individual when it comes to getting injured. Good to see David Mutaka in shot 21, standing on the line. I think getting ready to come on, to jump onto the pitch. David there, who has represented Uganda at the Sevens and our team says, I'm still good to go, so David will still wait to come on. David will also now lives his life as a human resource. Head of Human Resources at Stanbic Bank, Uganda.
George Asin, the youngest man on this Kenya veteran side, has been very busy in the set pieces, sends it in the air for Humphrey Kayangwe, but is not able to gather. Faizo Gama on the chest. Possession is maintained by the Kenya vets. And Roger Rukundo is on the floor. Lavin Asego playing halfback duties. Kayange tackled by Charles Onen. Ball pops up on the Ugandan side. And we shall return to that first phase of play. After that Abel Sozi break. Kenya judged for holding on. There's Charles Onen looking for touch. But he skews that hit straight into the hands of Lavin Asego, who returns it with interest to Ibrahim Nyango. And Kenya are back to where we started from. And Terrell has found himself in Nyango's classroom. Nyango throwing the ball straight into his hands, and well aware that Terrell was not the league of 5 meters away from the touchline for that lineout.
Trust Ibra to pick on anybody for anything that will make you look bad.
It should be a penalty, I should say, impeding the lineout when you're standing within the 5. But that was very smart from Ibrahim Nyango, one of the 3 brothers on pitch for the Ugandan side. Charles Onen now finds Alan Otim. Alan Otim to Michael Wokorach. Wokorach has Alan Musoke to his outside but does not use him. Gama selling a dummy and running straight through at that back foot. There's a man flying in from the side. Alan Otim caught with his hands on the ball, and Uganda have a penalty advantage. Otim scratches and goes. Kenya again caught offside. They are not the regulation 10 meters off the mark.
I think for the Ugandans to actually get anything out of this game, they need to get a little faster with their ball and get to attack the line a little more, get that ball to the backs. I think they still have quite a bit of pace in the backs that can be used. They're not taking advantage of that. But if they could do that, they could punish the Kenyan legends.
12 points on the board for Kenya. Uganda need not just to punish the Kenya legends, they need to put some points on the board as well. First, they begin with this line out thrown by Alex Mubiru, still ranked as Uganda's best line out thrower, Uganda's best hooker of all time. Goes in the air for Roger Rukundo. Faizo Gama maintains possession for Uganda, and Ronald Adigas is not able to regather, commits his second handling error of this game. More changes from both teams. We'll be getting confirmation of those in a few. And Uganda have found a good response to that Kenyan scrum, forcing Lavin Asego to innovate. But Asego finds Victor Sudi rather, and Sudi gets a cheap 20 meters for Kenya on the break. There's a hand at that scrummage. The dark arts that were employed by Kenya, Roger Rukundo tries to replicate and is caught with his hands in the cookie jar. Sent out into touch in a heavy tackle by Abel Sozi. Kenya still had the advantage, but now the pace is picking up. The veterans are beginning to play like the young men that they were 10 or so years ago.
I think they've gotten their feet on the gas now. The game is a little much faster than it was, and like I said, if this game gets a lot more faster, we're definitely going to get a lot more scores on the board, and the excitement is going to be drawn higher than it is living at now. But good to see the likes of Alan Musoke on pitch. I mean, Abel Sozi, who broke the line there but couldn't do much with his break. But also would love to see the likes of Brian Tindi with that ball in hand and try to pick some gaps in the Kenyan defense.
Comment coming in from Protas Omusai saying that this should have been the first leg of the Elgon Cup this year. It's living up to its billing as Kenya look for the third try and they find it. The Vets mean business and they have scored their third try unanswered. 19 points, 17 points on the board. Conversion to come. What a start from Kenya. Uganda need a quick response as soon as they can.
I think they continue to ask themselves very many questions. What could have gone wrong? The plays that they've been putting through, they've put in time, come here and try to forge a structure around a very long period of time that they haven't played. But it's not working for them up to this point. But let's see. We still have quite a bit of time. They could get to salvage themselves, but we'll wait and see what they have to offer. But the Kenyan side continues to look very impressive and seem to have their act together. I see on the touchline Robert Biabasheja, commonly known as Chucks, running through his warm-up paces. And that there, he splits the uprights and extends the Kenyan lead to 19, and the Ugandans yet to cross the white line.
Asego has still got it, we've got to admit. Easily striking through after that try by the man in Jersey 4. Says Jersey 4, but Jersey 4 on the score sheet is Oliver, on the team sheet is Oliver Mangeni. Number of changes have been made, Jersey's being mixed up. We'll get a confirmation of the scorers as Chucks joins the fray for Ibrahim Nyango. This gentleman better have medical insurance, as Humphrey Kayange, the tallest man on the field, picks the ball in the air on that quick restart. Put it straight out. By Mukabane. And Uganda will have a line out on the Kenya 10. There's a number of players who have played on both teams. I'd like to make a mention of George Mbaye, the captain himself, Omondi, Oliver Mangeni and George Yasin. Some Ugandans have played rugby in Kenya, but we shall get to mention some of those as Uganda pull off a cheeky line-out move there with Alex Mubiro. Victor Wadia pops it to Biabasheja, and Biabasheja's first contribution on the ball is a handling error that gets the most displeased reactions from Victor Wadia as Charles Onen makes a sweet intercept to get Uganda into the Kenya 22 for the first time. Wadia, long ball out to Michael Wokorach. Wokorach dances past Lavin Asego Wokorach is one of the young men on this playing field. Expected to play the full 80 minutes. That's his first close contribution for Uganda in attack. Slow ball for the team in red. First time this close to the Kenyan try area. Picking and driving. Kenya defending for their lives. Ball pops up on the side. Uganda have the advantage on that attempted intercept. There's as many dark arts as you can possibly get in this exchange. Romano Ogwal running an interesting angle run. Wadia, quick ball out to Tabaruka. There's numbers on the outside for Uganda. Long ball, finds Atuket, and he loses it forward. A try scoring opportunity for Uganda goes begging.
And Dennis Atuket butchers that one. The Ugandans only have advantage now. And everybody gets onto his feet. The Ugandans would love to see a score on the board, but that exactly is not the way to receive a rugby ball. And definitely Atuket will go home, and a very unhappy man.
That should have been first points on the board for Uganda without a doubt. Tawaruka picks out the right pass. Michael Okorach running an interesting line towards his opposite man. Uganda had the 3v2 overlap. Tabaruka picks Atuket, and Atuket, all he had to do was catch the ball and ground it, but he couldn't. And Uganda have opted for the 3 after the 5 went begging.
The only thing that he had to beat was the line. But Uganda choose to go for posts, desperate to get some points on the board. And some Ugandan veterans shake their heads in disbelief and asking, why can't we go for the full points? I'm sure the most of them now say, in our days. And those there are the first points Uganda has put on the board.
In their days, this used to be easy points to score, but as it stands, Kenya are leading by 19 points to 3 at the break. What a start from the two teams, but what an electric start from the visitors. We'll be back after the break for the final 40 minutes of this game. Kenya veterans leading by 19 points to 3 against the Uganda veterans.
19. Uganda wins 3.
First of all, before we get into the thick of the things of where we are discussing today, how has the first half gone for you?
It's gone pretty well. The boys are enjoying themselves. They're doing what the coach asked them to do. We thought that the Ugandans are a bit more serious with this game. We thought we were coming for a kickabout. And I thought just seeing the preparations and what the Ugandans have put into it really then entailed us to put in the effort. And I think the lads are really enjoying themselves.
I would like to now know specifically, what is the Legends by Nondies organization?
So over the years, Nondies has existed for 100 years. We are 100 years today. And over the years, we've always sent a team to go and participate in different tournaments in the vets category. And we thought we should get back into that 3 or 4 years ago. So we're putting the team together. We've been participating in Dubai Sevens for the last 4 years. And we thought, why now not do a 15s game? It's 100 years of Nondies this year, and this is really a celebration of 100 years of not just Nondies, but rugby in East Africa. Reached out to Uganda, our neighbors and our brothers, and they were happy to engage us. And here we are, and we hope that this is now something that we can be doing over the years, getting the old lads to get a moment where they can play some rugby and enjoy themselves.
Yeah, thank you very much on that bit of history between the two countries, but also especially for the Legends by Nondies. One final question. A number of years have passed since Kenya Rugby came here to play rugby against Uganda. But I would like to ask, for the days that you've been here, have you enjoyed some matoke, or have you loved being out here in Uganda?
It's always been, for me personally and for a lot of these lads here, it's always been a fantastic time coming down here. My first tour outside of Kenya was to Uganda when I was in college. I just joined the University of Nairobi. And ever since, it's been a fantastic place to come to enjoy ourselves. The food is amazing, the nightlife is great, the people are really great, very welcoming. Very warm, and they give us the sense that they love every moment that we spend in this country, and we really appreciate the hospitality and the care and just the outward warmth that the Ugandans have shown us, and really we're enjoying ourselves here.
Thank you very much, Mr. Agesheo. Let's let you go. It's 19-3 in favor of your boys. Hopefully we'll be having more celebrations at full time.
For sure we must celebrate at the end of the game. Whoever wins, we're looking forward to a good time in the evening, enjoying talking to the lads and spending time with them in the dinner and having a drink. And like I said, we hope that this is a tradition that we can keep on for years to come.
Thank you very much. Back to the action on the playing field. Kenya resuming where they had started the first half. Humphrey Kayango in attack, tracking back a bit, about 5 meters back. They came close to the try line, but Uganda defending strong in this phase of play. And now they have the advantage. Long ball out wide to Asin. Asin finds Asego. Sego offloads it out wide, and yet again another handling error hands possession to the defending team. Try scoring opportunities don't come so easy. This one has gone begging also.
Good to see David Mutaka running on in shot 21. Off comes Alan Musoke, who I'm sure his legs have done time. When you see him overly strapped, it's not because he's trying to be fancy. It's him protecting the muscles that have become of age.
When you hit a certain age, my older friends tell me, it becomes a battle to stay on your feet. The knees begin to crack. And that is the essence of that strapping on Alan Mubiro, one of the best rugby players and best finishers the country has ever seen, set a try scoring record in the early 2000s that has never been broken. 22 tries in the rugby premiership, especially back then when there were less than 10 teams, only equaled by Justin Kimono in 2014 and just this season by Pius Ogena.
I think I can tell you that he's always been prolific on the finishing end of it. He always had that lucky bounce that for some reason every time the ball was kicked he had the better of it. Not forgetting that he has fingers longer than you can imagine, that he will claw anything that there is to be clawed around him. So he always took that to his advantage and made use of it. So that said, back on pitch, the Kenyans have that ball taken in.
Michael Wokorach has been found guilty as accused, stopping an almost certain try-scoring opportunity for the Kenyans in its tracks, slapping that ball down. We're joined in commentary by a man just off the pitch, Alan Musoke. How were the opening 40 minutes?
I think it was pretty rough because the Kenya Vets just brought a very, very solid game. But we are still in it. We are just trying to acclimatize. It's been quite a while without rugby. So they are just engaging us in the forwards, and I think that is where we just need to tighten up.
We have a youngster on the pitch, the youngest man, actually, so one of the youngest men in this squad, Michael Wokorach, has been caught with his hand in the cookie jar. Michael Wokorach will spend the next 10 minutes in the pit. Do you think that he has served the veterans in the best way today?
Well, I don't think that's good for our team because he's clearly one of the fitter guys and he has been there for much action. But again, in the backs, we are handling pretty well. Of course, they've made a reshuffle there and want to see how we can now. It's sad that Michael is off, but we'll still manage. We just have to solidify in the pack.
Just a quick one. What is it that has to be said about you strapping yourself the very many times that you've strapped yourself? Is it because the edge bells are ringing?
As the Kenyans put another score on us there, it has been a hard 3 weeks of intense training, so the hamstrings are just not as fit as they used to be, and I think they've been shocked by the amount of running that has happened over the last 3 weeks. So getting them strapped, getting a lot of work done with the physio, it's intense, it's intense.
Alan Musoke, there's a try scoring opportunity for Uganda here. The closest we've come to scoring, I liked how Uganda kept possession in play. Maybe in the good old days, a very good finisher like you, a very good finisher like Dennis Whitaker would have scored easy points there.
It was a little unfortunate. It was a little unfortunate that Dennis took his eye off the ball just a little bit. I think he was sizing up where the defense was, and his eyes must have lit up when he saw Glory there. And because it was a delightfully weighted pass by Brian, he should have actually just kept his eyes on the ball and then 1-2 and dive.
Ask you one final question. What is your fondest memory? There's been a number of games that you have played for Uganda, especially against Kenya. But what is your fondest memory? This has been my best question to ask. What has been your best memory playing for Uganda against Kenya?
Nothing will take it away from the 2000 time when we won it in Nairobi. But on this ground, there was a time when we were really struggling, and that was about 2006, when we were really struggling, and we turned on a blinder of a game in the second half, and that's when I scored, Lawrence Wakabi scored, and it just came on. It was we actually missed that Elgon Cup by, I think, by a point, which Anguyo actually thought we had won, so he was just reckless with the last kick. So it was one of the testing and one of the best games I've played against Kenya here.
It goes without saying that the one advantage that you've always had over any other player is your long fingers that you use to your advantage. Is that true?
I think it's a lot to do, better not the fingers, but the handling that basketball gives you. As we go onto the field where Kenya is piling pressure, Sudi and Tol, that's Humphrey Kayanga, just linking up very well in the midfield. We just have to ride out these 10 minutes until Michael comes back, otherwise it's going to be quite tough there.
Veterans game, but Uganda is certainly relying on the youngsters. Michael Okorachi, there have been a number of changes have been made. Kenya now lead by 24 points to 6. How do you think Uganda will be able to score our first try? At least for the fans who have been with us, you on the pitch for 20 years, and some of the fans who have been here, like in our background, Eddie Chiwanuka, who has been supporting Uganda, he told me since about 2004.
I still think our best chance of putting points on the board is going to be through the back line. So we just have to get this ball as wide as possible to the outside areas, because we do have silky runners. We now then have Brian Tabaruka just trying to link up play there. Of course, we are man down, but I think our best chance is still in the back line where we spread that ball wide.
Right, back to the action. Play will resume with a scrum feed for Uganda. Daniel Chanowera is on the pitch in a number of changes that have been made. I could identify a number of other changes that have been made in both teams, yet to get confirmation of that. But Robert, what have you noticed in these opening minutes of the second half?
I think the Ugandans have tried to get the ball really moving, but the Kenyans have been up to speed with them. And I think, like Alan mentioned, for Uganda to get any more points on the board, the ball has to get to the backs, because I believe they have more firepower in the backs than they do in the forwards.
Some innovation has been done by Uganda. Lutakome on at number 10, Onen at 12. Uganda playing with a man down. Lutakome with his first contribution is to put the ball onto the boat. Etiquette chasing. A good chase from Uganda. Tackle completed by Mutaka. Kenya maintain possession. Andrew Amonde and Oliver Mangeni shaping up to receive the ball. The two KCB veterans and now legends. Asman Mugera with the tackle. Kenya Cup champion. Should be double champion in Kenya at the moment. Still an active rugby player. George Asin played for Impis and the Black Pirates here in Uganda. Lavina Sego now. Long ball out wide. Kenya have acres of space on the outside. Uganda defending for their lives, and they force the play into touch. Beautiful defense from the boys in red.
Yeah, I keep saying that I think our best chance is really to get this ball wide. The Kenya veteran forwards have really had an advantage, and again another penalty conceded in the park. The Uganda veterans have really been hammered in the park, and that is where the solidarity really has to come from, and that is again the engine room just has to get to work, and we have been a little bit steady in the second half. We had a very awkward beginning of the game. Again, it is game time, and the Kenya veterans already have the edge because they have been having a number of tours in the Dubai 10, so they have quite a bit of action under their belts. But that notwithstanding, there is a return match in November, and I am sure the Uganda veterans will be much better as the Kenya veterans put the ball into touch for another line out. Alex Muriru has been trying to explain to the Uganda veteran forwards that we have to disrupt some of these set pieces, otherwise the Kenya vets are going to have all the ball and all the action.
Spoke to team owner Aoka Gesheo, and he said the Nondies celebrating 100 years and deciding to come to Uganda was a way of celebrating the rivalry between the two countries. It's very good to hear that there's going to be more tours like this that are being planned as Kenya finds some space on the outside. The big man, Tasudi, decides to carry himself and loses that ball backwards in contact. Possession secured by Amonde. Players slowly getting back in position. And now the backs can play. As seen in acres of space, chased by Asuman Mugerwa. He offloads into space. There's acres of space for Kenya, and handling errors after handling errors. Another try-scoring opportunity goes begging.
The referee there comes to the rescue of Uganda and calls a forward pass, but the Kenyans had everything, but only the line to beat.
Again, like it is very, very evident that the defense lines for the Uganda veterans are not aligning. The folding is really, really wanting there, but it is a learning curve. It is a step. Yes, many of these gentlemen have played for the country quite a number of times, but it is different when it is different when you have been out of action for 5-6 years, as many of these vets have. As Onen then does find a clearance kick, and he does find touch, ball into the stands. He has been trying to clear and providing very good exits for the Uganda vets very well over this period of time. And let's see how they can try to disrupt. The score is 24-6, and that's quite a matter of decline. Like I said, there is a return leg. There is a return leg in Nairobi sometime in November that is also being planned, and that should be. And these people should, these rugby players should be much fitter. As Victor Sudi jumps onto his bike.
But Alan Musoke, it's just about 50 meters of rugby that have been played so far, and you're already looking to November. I think this game has still got a lot of time to play. You're already calling it. You've already called it that Kenya have run away with this one.
Judging from how we've done, we could possibly put in 2 unanswered tries at this point, and that will get us to about 20-24, and that's when I see when Michael gets back onto the field, Roger Rukundo, which Roger Rukundo also makes his way back into the fray for Athio Mohammed. It has been quite a bit of a battering. So I believe that what we can do in this leg is damage control, pick some of the lessons, and then we should be able to prepare better for the return leg. I haven't called it, but we should also be thinking about the return leg and the lessons learned.
And as Biabashija finds some rest at the break, Amonde with a beautiful switch for Tall, and that's going to be the easiest of finishes for Humphrey Kayangwe, World Rugby Hall of Famer. Stretches Kenya's lead to 29 points to 6. A round of applause from Jude Mugabe, one of the most popular and vocal Ugandan fans on the internet. And Kenya, you said Uganda would be scoring 2 unanswered tries in the second half. They need to score more than that, but what a beautiful chicken wing pass from Amonde and his director of Sevens Rugby in the Kenya Rugby Union, Humphrey Kayangwe, to just slide through. That's one of the longest dives I've seen in a rugby field from the man known as Tall.
Yes, again, there are so many lessons to be learned, especially with the forwards. We do have to work on a loose forwards play. We have to work on our defense lines. So there is a lot of rugby that we do have to learn and readjust. But that said, the pack just has to get back in, and we put in some grit, and then we should be able to again put some respect to the scores.
Did you just say that there's still quite a lot of rugby for you guys to learn? Wow. I believe this definitely is quite a bit of learning.
So this is a veterans game. If there's any learning that's going to be done at this point, I think right now the objective is to enjoy yourselves, as the Kenya veterans have done with these Legends by Nondies tour. Something that we can pick, a lift that we can borrow. We can do the same for our own veterans, and maybe then, like we had hoped at the start, this will be a fierce, I should say historic Elgon Cup battle.
Oh, yes, and that said, we have also taken a couple of hidings in our days here from the Kenya rugby team. So, but by the learnings, I said, looking at the different patterns, looking at the different angles, of course, our fitness levels are now totally different. So, by the learning, I believe that we need to learn to play together, learn to play veterans rugby, because many of us are used to flying out in the field, and as you see, the couple of hits that have been happening, and the Kenya vets have been just keeping it tight, doing the simple work, especially in the forward section. So we do, and we really need to get working together, get the units working together. We're from different teams, different clubs, and we've all been doing different things over.
That's you there in the Jose 14, Alan Musoke. In the first half, Kenya have enjoyed some beautiful plays. Charles Onen snatching one in the air, closest Uganda had come to scoring. And then that try scoring opportunity, Robert, look at that beautiful pass by Brian Tawaruka for Dennis Etoket, and Dennis Etoket lost that ball in contact. What a game of rugby we have had at this point so far.
And news coming in is that The Undertaker, Mike Wandera, for those that know him, will be coming on at some point. Veteran in the Ugandan structures, played for the 7s, played for the 15s. He's done everything possible to play rugby, and I believe when he comes on, there could be a difference for the Ugandan outfit.
The first times I saw Michael Wandera was in a photo. He was playing for Cobb's Rugby Club, right? And it was in those days when the tip tackles were still popular, a back page spread of him being tipped over. I think it was probably a Heathens game, and that's when I knew that rugby is a tough game, but then I felt I need to be a part of this. And it was because of Michael Wandera. It's my earliest memory that I have of him. Could you be having a memory of possibly having been there in person?
I can tell you for a fact that personally I was there for that game, and that particularly was the last game that he ever played for Cobbs. But if that was one of your first, it was his last game actively played for Cobbs. But yet again, it goes without saying that the reason he's named Undertaker, he never missed a tackle at his prime.
What a career from Michael Wandera. As Oliver Mangeni is caught in the air by Roger Rukundo. Olishe, as he is also known, born in Uganda, perhaps could have played for Uganda. There's a number of gentlemen on both teams who could have played either way. Scott Oloch, for example, of my days. There's men in your days and before who played for Uganda and could have played for Kenya. Any that come to mind right now?
Adrian Bukenya is one of them who could have actually turned out for the Kenyan side. He played for the Kenyans at the under 20. As a schoolboy, did play for Kenya and ended up leading Uganda and was part of the structures that were African champions. So it goes without saying that there's always been those numbers and the players that could have played for either of the teams.
Adrian Bukenya captained Uganda. He's one of Uganda's most successful captains, I should say, as well. Could have played for Kenya. What a surprise and what a snatch I think we got in him. I've worked with Adrian in the commentary both, I think, 3 times now, especially last year during the Africa Sevens. The great work that he did on the playing field, he still has that silky voice and talent off of it.
He's one of those brains that you would want to pick up on anything rugby. I can tell you, a gentleman, he is nicknamed Mussolini, and now goes out to go his days by leading the MasterCard Foundation team in Uganda as Brian Tawaruka shows his silkiness, and the referee penalizes the Kenyan legends for having their hands in the rack. And Roger Rukundo wants a faster ball, goes in with it, but he's taken to ground.
Possession maintained by Uganda. Looks like there's hands in that track. Referee says advantage. strong carrying and equally strong tackling from both teams. Onen finds Alan Otim. Alan Otim head on with Tyrell, fends him off and leaves him for dead. Brought down by Asin. Onen again looking for his next victim, but brought down this time in a good tackle. Victor Wadia, and he loses that ball forward again. But Uganda were playing the advantage. Quick start by Ibrahim Nyango. Possession maintained by Uganda. Patrick Oguru with a good carry. And then Daniel Chanowera stripped in broad daylight by the Kenyan defense. Michael Okorach forced off that breakdown. Amonde. Ball slides through the feet of his winger on the outside edge. Kenya have snatched possession from Uganda. Amonde, long ball out wide to Olishe. There's acres of space. Victor Sudi, beautiful offload. The man running the support line has been brought down, and a Kenyan break is halted in its tracks just past halfway, but Kenya have the advantage here again. And there's Mike.
On comes Michael Wandera, the Undertaker. I believe for those that haven't seen this man play, you should get excited already.
Ball does not find touch. It's now in the hands of the Silky Tabaruka. Tabaruka has still got it. Selling dummies for fun and finding some ground. Michael Wandera's first involvement in the game of Lords to Asman Mugera. Asman Mugera carrying strong, brought down by Oliver Mangeni. Charles Onen to the backs. Long ball out wide to Alan Otim. Otim with ball in one hand finds David Mutaka. Coached Uganda to the first Rugby World Cup Sevens appearance in 2009 with the Lady Rugby Cranes. And Alan Otim has been hit with a stiff shoulder to his side by Wamalwa. Victor Wadia carrying it with interest into the Kenyan 22. Asman Mugera again. Advantage, the high tackle from Oliver Mangeni. Back to the blind side and then to the open side. Wandera selling dummies and carrying it strong into Amonde's space. Uganda have found some space on the outside, but again Rogers Onen loses it forward. And try scoring opportunities won't be easy to come by in this Vets game, as we shall have a medical break to attend to so many men on the floor.
This is when you realize that age is just not a number. The muscles get spent and everything they have, they live on pitch.
These gentlemen have given all they could. Would like to send out a humble appeal to their families, a humble appeal to their places of work, that if any of them shows up with a certain limp, if any of them is not able to get up and go to church tomorrow, please understand that the battles that have been taken part in today are not for the faint-hearted. Alan Otim there with a shoulder injury looks to be the most painful substitution we have seen today. Also on the floor is Andrew Amonde. Brian Tabaruka getting a boot replacement. That's Mukabane actually. More changes being made for both teams. Etiquette and Tabaruka on the sidelines needing a change of boots. And Charles Onen will be finding touch for Uganda as they attack with from an interesting line out just 5 meters from the Kenyan try area. This is the closest they've come in the second half to putting points on the board. Uganda, they should make it count.
Just to mention that we also have a member of parliament representing the Ugandan outfit. And Uganda, the referee has something to say.
Try scoring opportunity looks to have been fumbled by Uganda. That line out play appeared to be some obstruction. Charlie Mungoma and David Chirabira have some consulting to do amongst themselves. Some finger pointing from the Kenya captain Omondi, and a penalty has been awarded to Kenya. Waiting for the hand signal. Should be obstruction in my view from that phase of play. Once they went up in the air off the line out, there was no man at that breakdown, and the moment you transfer the ball backwards, that's obstruction. But oh well, Uganda will wait to put some points on the board, as in the midfield is the youngster Olanya, member of parliament in Uganda, played rugby in high school and also for the Pirates. Should be one of the youngest midfield partnership, I should say, here today, Michael Okorach and Olanya. As Kenya continue to pile the pressure, George Asin carrying it just outside the 22. Tyrell, Sudi, and then Alan Musoke back on the playing field, can only watch as the ball bounces into touch for a Ugandan line out inside their half. Brilliant line out from Uganda, and Asuman Mugera stays with the ball in hand. That characteristic handoff from him. Charlesonen sends it into the air. Mukabane gathers. Michael Okorach forces him into touch, and the Ugandan fans have found their voice. Quick restart by Mutaka to Ellen Musoke. Quick ball, Victor Wadia yet again cannot get the ball into his hands. Strong tackles coming in from the Kenyans. And a penalty for Uganda. Wadia, quick restart, let's go. Catches many men offside, should be advantage for Uganda. Referee says play on. Bobby Bibangamba was my first coach in Intare School back in 2009, but continued playing his rugby with the Mongas after leaving the Cobs. The Undertaker Michael Wandera. Now Tabaruka. That beautiful cross kick from Michael Okorach to chase, and it can only bounce into touch deep inside the Kenyan territory. That's good attacking rugby from Uganda, and equally good defense from Kenya.
It goes without saying that the Undertaker coming on has actually made a difference on the pitch. He already has about 4 carries of that ball, gained some ground, and it goes to show that if he had been here to play the most of the game, maybe, just maybe, they would be in a better place.
Only just maybe. They need to attack from this line out. Possession maintained by Kenya. An offload on the floor. And a good exit kick for Alan Musoke and Brian Tabaruka to orchestrate a counter-attack. The two played very well in their heydays. Tabaruka caught isolated. Alan Musoke is led to that breakdown. Does the possession stay in the hands of Uganda? Yes, it does. Slow ball as Kenya attempt to turn it over. Wandera. Long ball out wide to Mutaka. Mutaka to Olanya. Forced to the floor with interest about taxpayers' money in Uganda. Michael Okorach on the quick restart. Sees his opposite captain, Amonde, and decides to go for contact. And there's a man who has been caught offside at that phase of play. Omondi has some word to say to the referee. And to Michael Okorach as well. Omondi has given Uganda a free 10 meters for back chat to the referee. Charlson and carries it strong. The number 10 playing like a lock. Wandera, long ball out wide. Rogers Onen playing some football. Back to Wandera. Diving pass from Wandera, the Undertaker. Tabaruka to Michael Okorach. Okorach has Alan Museko on his outside. Attempts that offload, but the ball has been lost forward in contact. And then more offloading from Uganda. Possession back into the hands of Kenya. And the advantage will go to the team leading by 25 points at this point in the game.
The Ugandans desperate to get any kind of points on the board, maybe even just cross the line and dot the blade of grass that is past the uprights.
As a young man who has just been watching rugby for about maybe 8 years, one of the most painful games I've watched was that Jacob Ojei try as in the Elgon Cup in 2019, the last time we had the Elgon Cup here. That's one of the most painful I've watched. But those who had watched games for longer say that wasn't it. That doesn't even come close to the biggest defeats Uganda has had here in Uganda against Kenya. Quick off your mind, which are some of those that you remember?
2011, very, very miserable loss that we had to the Kenyans here at Kyadondo. I think one of the things that we could have done best was not to turn up.
Couldn't have been more painful, that loss, and maybe some of these gentlemen playing in this veterans game took part in that game in 2011. Rogers Onen on that carry. Asuman Mugerao with the next one. He has enjoyed some company with Oliver Mangeni, who is slow to roll away, and Uganda have the advantage. Tabaruka, Wokorach, has Mutaka on the outside, finds him. Mutaka is silky on his feet. Olanya tackled hard again by Lavin Asego, but Uganda had the advantage. The youngest men on this playing field are taking some heavy tackles, I must admit.
And you continue to see some very sore bodies on the ground. It is not because they don't have what it takes. It's just that the muscles are a little bit spent.
Suman Mogera getting some cheers from the fans in the stands today. He has had very strong carrying. Olanya as well making way in one of the changes at this point. Pete Tyrell as well. Jay William too. As the clock ticks away into the evening of this match, Charles Onen looking for touch, does not find it. Tyrell will clear. And the ball bounces back into touch. Uganda in possession on that counter-attack. They've enjoyed possession in these stages of the game. Ronald Dadigas pushing over 60 meters against his fellow veterans. Ball stays on the side of Uganda. Onen now for Wokorach in the 12th possession. Throws a loose pass that is gathered by Alan Musoke, caught a bit high. And George Yasin playing mind games with Michael Wokorach. Two of them, the youngest on the playing field. And Yasin will be getting an extra 10 meters for Uganda as they go to the corner yet again. Tabaruka this time to find touch. There's a number of distinguished leaders on the playing field today. We have Mukabane and Kayange, who are directors in Kenyan Rugby. There's Brian Tabaruka, who has been chairperson at Channel Rugby Club here. Daniel Chanowera Alia is chairperson of the Black Pirates. These gentlemen have played their best days of rugby, and they have continued to serve the sport in their different capacities, and that's very beautiful to see. As Uganda now push forward in this rolling maul, they have the advantage as well. If they can push it further, if Kenya are not able to disrupt this possession, Uganda will have their first try on the board, but it is not going to be, as they have earned a penalty for side entry. Faizo Gama looking for that quick restart, but he decides to hold it. And Charles Onen goes to the corner again, line out closer to the 5-meter line.
I think, like you mentioned, the Ugandans should take advantage of the firepower they have in the backs. In such a moment, in my opinion, they should have taken a quick tap and gone and spread it out. But let's see what happens. Their lineouts haven't disappointed, and I hope and that there continues to disappoint. The commentators' cast catches up with them.
There's always one or two commentators just waiting to strike at the most painful of times. But the times I've watched rugby, the few years I've watched rugby, one of the things I've noticed, and this the veterans know at this point, I think Uganda veterans know, there are times where you reach and the only decision you can make is to look for the try. You've camped in a team's half for so long that the only thing you can settle for is the try. And that's what Uganda are doing with these lineouts. Rogers Rukundo breaking off that line out off the top by Mohamed Athio. Charles Onen, a short ball looking for some space, and he just throws it into the hands of Humphrey Kayangwe. There's 3 men going for that try. Alan Musoke can only escort Pete Tyrell. Was that a forward pass? No, it wasn't. And the try that drives the final nail into the coffin that the Kenya veterans have prepared for Uganda. 36 points on the board to 6 for Kenya veterans. Points to come. Conversion to come. There has been many one-sided games here today. Some of these players and some of the fans that have been here for many, many years will remember the days when these veterans have put such huge scores against them, and this is going to start yet another painful story of losing to Kenya as an active player and as a veteran.
I can tell you, for the players that are on pitch that have played, and the most of them have played against Kenya before, this here is nothing to go home and smile about. It might be a game played for fun, to enjoy themselves, remind their muscles that they've done this before. But yet again, who walks away with the bragging rights? It's definitely painful to watch the Ugandans go down in this style.
Still some more time to play. The Ugandans look like they are waiting for full time. Kenyans look like they would like to go a little bit more. Alan Musoke, the only player that could go behind the uprights to try and contest at that kick. And the action is still hot and ongoing. Mukabane now brought down by Charles Onen from behind. George Asin has pushed a solid 80 meters. He finds that carry in open space, brought down by Roger Rukundo. Victor Sudi sending Alan Musoke to the coolers. Lavasego finds Amonde. And then Amonde again. Charles Onen caught with his hands in the cookie jar. Playing advantage for Kenya. Oliver Mangeni breaking that line. It's getting ugly, I should say. And Uganda can only hope for a fault in Kenya's attack, which comes in form of that handling error.
And I think that's the most that they have to offer for today, and should be wishing for November to come sooner than later.
The fans that have shown up here today expected a game of lots of memories, lots of smiles between the two teams. Some expected some pleasure, some expected some fun. Kenya came meaning business, and they struck from the get-go. Uganda have not been able to respond since, and maybe now with this attack, can they get some consolation points on the board? Michael Wokorach to Brian Tabaruka. There's numbers on the outside. David Mutaka, acres of space in front of him. Has Alan Musoke in support, but too slow is Musoke. David Mutaka forced into touch alone. He throws an offload already in touch. And Terrell has been tackled by Michael Wokorach. Referee has already blown for touch. Kenyans are running rings around the Ugandan defense. Lavin Asego into the corner, but it won't count as the ball was already in touch. And nothing Uganda is doing seems to work. As Kenya's defense denies them any opportunity to put points on the board in the very last play of the game. That last try in the corner by Asego, against all odds, shows how tough it has been for Uganda in this game. They have gone away without points on the board. Asego's try didn't count, as David Chirabira had called them back to play. The final score in this game is 38 points to 6 in favor of the visiting team. What a tour from the 100-year-old legends by Nondies Rugby Club with the Kenya veterans. And at the end of it all, today it's going to be hugs and celebrations and stories and parting from these two teams. What a game of rugby we have had, especially watching these veterans play. And perhaps this is the start of many more like this to come.
I believe this is definitely going to be an interesting encounter going forward. I think it's the beginning of history, and I think the Ugandans and the Kenyans will enjoy the next games and the next couple of years of full rugby to be played.
Thank you for joining us here on Kawowo Sports. I've been Ernest Akorebi Runji on commentary with Robert Rutaisiri, and then later joined by Alan Musoke. We would like to send a shout out to all the fans in Uganda and in Kenya for supporting the veterans over the years and today as well, and also for supporting rugby in East Africa. We look forward to many more moments like this. And now we wish you a very good weekend from here at Kyadondo Rugby Club. Sound, eh? Sound were good, eh? Post-match here after the Kenya Legends versus Uganda Legends match. I'm joined by Oliver Mangeni. You played most of this game today. 38 points to 6 in favor of Kenya. What a match you have had today.
Yeah, you know, it's always good coming to Uganda to play. Remembering my playing days, this venue was always the best in East Africa to play. Yeah, so it's about the spirit of the game, just participating and enjoying. Now, for these legends, we just want it to be happening every year. You come to Nairobi, we come to Kampala and enjoy what rugby has to offer.
I would like to just ask one question. Yeah. Oliver Mangeni, you have some Ugandan roots in you, but rugby and your career led you to Kenya. Yeah. Do you wish maybe you could have played for Uganda at a certain point in your career?
Yeah, I actually came to Uganda in 2009, tried my luck, but by then I didn't know anyone. And most of my work and studies was in Nairobi. So that's why I just settled for Nairobi. And you know, with rugby, you can always play for any country as long as you have allegiance. Yeah, like now my mom comes from Uganda. Part of my dad's family comes from Uganda and Kenya. So no wonder my name is called Chizito. Yes.
You're a Ugandan full, I should say.
Yes, I can say that.
So I would like to ask, have you had some matoke in today's tour?
Not yet. I have not even. I just remember I had gonja yesterday and a bit of the chicken on the stick. Yeah.
That's the nyama choma, yes. Our version of nyama choma on the roadside here today. Yeah. A very beautiful game from you at this venue. Very good result that the Legends can take back home. But there's lots more that Uganda has to offer, and it probably starts here today in the evening.
Yeah, probably now you see now we're going for dinner, and the game will start after this one. We know now it's time now for the game in the night. Yeah.
All right, we hope you are able to enjoy yourself like you did in this game later today.
Yeah, we've been enjoying ever since we set our foot in Kampala. It has just been fun. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Oliver, for joining us here today, and what a beautiful game you've played.
Thank you very much.
I'll just look at you.
By the star number 10, you have still got it, I should say, Lavin Asego in you on the playing field.
Yeah, I'm surprised that I'm still holding in one piece after 80 minutes, but obviously we had the quarters. But I think it's good just to come out. It's been a while since I've been back to Kyadondo. This is where it started years ago when I played my under-19 in this same pitch. And it's a good experience coming back over 20 years, just to run it back, meet guys that I last played with a long time ago. And just at the end of the day, we carried the day. But I think, for me, I think rugby is the winner because we've come out and re-established links from years back. Yeah.
Some moments of brilliance that you showed in today's game, off kicking, carrying ball in hand. How much work has gone into preparing for today's game?
The one thing is we try and play in Dubai for the 10s. So we've trained quite a bit as a team, but obviously for this tournament we brought in a few more numbers. But I think they always say you never forget how to ride a bicycle. But I really had to work on the fitness and try and keep the bodies together. So I guess the magic that you've seen, it doesn't just happen like that. We've really put in a lot of work behind the scenes.
There's a lot of magic that you are doing as well in sport, especially on the fairway. I enjoy your series Love on the Fairway. How much of those skills have you transferred from rugby onto golf?
Actually, funny enough, the kicking aspect of rugby, I've translated it to golf because the three basic dynamics, head down, follow through, and keep your eye on the target. Those are the same basics that I use for golf. Obviously, the golf is not as good as the rugby, but it's a new sport that I picked up, and I've been able to open new doors, and hopefully one day I'll come and shoot a video here at your prestigious Serena Golf Course.
All right, we'll be looking forward to hosting you again. It's been a beautiful tour from you. Played very well. I thought that try should have counted in the corner as we got to go underway with it. But then, what a beautiful game from you. And we look forward to seeing more tours like this in the future, for sure.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I'd like to thank all the fans for coming out and supporting this game. It really means a lot to me, and I'm sure to the boys, that fans just came out to enjoy this beautiful game of rugby. And hopefully you can have more such tournaments and such games here.
Right, Asego, let's let you go to the party that is forthcoming for you on this tour.
Thank you very much, and I'll see you guys soon.
Iwakato, this is a quick call. I'm almost out of minutes. Now, the center.
Why rush through such important conversations? Airtel Uganda has made it possible for you to call across all networks in Uganda at the best rates with the new Bona voice bundles. Stay connected anytime, anywhere, with minutes valid for calls on all networks. Dial star 100 star 1 hash. Select voice bundles and select Bona voice bundles today.
Airtel, a reason to imagine.
We are putting certainty in their future so you can have a peaceful life. Exploring emerging opportunities so you can explore life. Covering your health so you can share your well-being with others. Taking care of your investments so you can enjoy the fruits of your wise decisions. With Britam, we are assured of over 55 years experience in life insurance, health insurance, general insurance, investments, and retirement solutions. Britam, with you every step of the way.
Now there's a quicker and easier way to find a third-party insurance sticker. Britam Insurance and MTN Mobile Money Limited have teamed up to bring you insurance everywhere. For the first time ever, you can get your Britam third-party insurance sticker printed and ready to go at selected MTN shops. That means that there are now so many more places where you can get service. Just dial star 165 star 4 star 5 hash. Follow the prompts and complete your payment. You'll receive a confirmation code which you can take to a selected MTN shop near you and get your third-party sticker printed instantly. No more searching, no more hustle. It's insurance everywhere. Powered by Britam, with you every step of the way. And MTN. Britam is regulated by the Insurance Regulatory Authority of Uganda.
And now I am joined by Uganda veteran Brian Tabaruka. Tabaruka, you have still got it, I should say. You have still got it.
Really? I didn't know I do. We're playing like veterans, so the Kenyans have proved to be a lot fitter than we are. I think we started off late. A lot of the teammates thought it was a joke and picked up early this month. I think we can get together and work for the return leg and play a lot better.
I should say one of the things that I noticed was how your positioning, how your kicking is still going. Was that one of your best strengths in your heydays as a rugby player?
Yeah, I think I had a fairly good boot. I was a fairly good tackler. I wasn't tested very much today, but I think, yeah, that's what I could say.
It was a tough game today. There's been very many tough games for Uganda versus Kenya, but I would like to ask about one of your best. What is your best memory playing for Uganda against Kenya?
I think that the first one is 2002 in Nairobi. That's the first time we beat Kenya in Nairobi and went on to win the Africa Cup that time. So it was, can't forget that. Then the next was the 2007 Africa Cup in Madagascar. We beat them in the semi-finals. So those two stick very, very deep in mind.
Do you think that in this second leg that you've mentioned, we'll be able to pull off maybe one of those huge wins again?
We definitely should. If we can stick together, work to beating this kind of game intensity, we'll definitely beat them. We can beat them at home.
Right, thank you very much, Mr. Brian. We would like to let you go to join your colleagues for the after party.
Thank you, thank you.
Now there's a quicker and easier way to find a third-party insurance sticker. Britam Insurance and MTN Mobile Money Limited have teamed up to bring you insurance everywhere. For the first time ever, you can get your Britam third-party insurance sticker printed and ready to go at selected MTN shops. That means that there are now so many more places where you can get service. Just dial *165*4*5#. Follow the prompts and complete your payment. You'll receive a confirmation code which you can take to a selected MTN shop near you and get your third-party sticker printed instantly. No more searching, no more hustle. It's insurance everywhere. Powered by Britam, with you every step of the way. And MTN. Britam is regulated by the Insurance Regulatory Authority of Uganda.
Kato, this is a quick call. I'm almost out of minutes. Now, the center.
Why rush through such important conversations? Airtel Uganda has made it possible for you to call across all networks in Uganda at the best rates with the new Bona voice bundles. Stay connected anytime, anywhere, with minutes valid for calls on all networks. Dial *100*1#. Select voice bundles and select Bona voice bundles today.
Airtel, a reason to imagine.